ये ऑटोमेटिकली लॉग आउट हो गया।
Hello. Can we start? I hope I have seen now, I think around 121 are online. So good afternoon. I'm starting again. So we were discussing up to this point, we have covered yes, we have covered up to, yeah, laddering. We have covered this also yesterday. Then let me discuss the, yeah, qualitative designs. Yes. So we'll be discussing this indirect procedures. In that, we'll be discussing various types of projective techniques. And in that, we will cover the association test, completion techniques, the construction techniques, and the expressive techniques. So first of all, what are these projective techniques, or in short, what we call the PTs? So here, what exactly as researchers we are doing is that we seek responses from those subjects of interest to scenarios which generally are vague, which are unstructured, which appear to be ambiguous from the point of view of our subjects. The basic idea behind these projective techniques or the use of these techniques is that we want to uncover motives which are subconscious. Because at times it has, we realize during interactions with our subjects that, direct ways are not working. So we tend to use these indirect methods. And of course, because these methods are indirect, so there is a lot of subjectivity. And as far as interpretation is concerned, if you are employing, for example, two people who are experts in the field as far as interpretation is concerned, so both of them may interpret the same thing in a different manner. So that is why there are issues as far as validity is concerned, as far as repeatability is concerned. So this basically, this entire idea or these techniques we have borrowed from clinical psychology. Then you see, in this, as we were discussing, that these are disguised in a way. We do not reveal generally the purpose or the details regarding the project itself to our subjects. And the idea is that we want to uncover the subconscious motives. So as far as association technique is concerned, I think word association is a technique with which most of us are familiar, or we may have heard of these techniques, and at least the term association in some contexts we already are aware of it. So here what we do is that we present to the subjects or to individuals of interest certain keywords or stimulus words, and we ask them to respond to those words with the first word that comes to their mind. Because if we allow them, or if they think about those words and then they share, then the genuine responses are missing. So we will present to these subjects a list of words, and we will read out those words very carefully, one at a time. And sometimes what we do is that we also use some words which we refer to as the neutral words along with these test words, so as to in a way find out whether our respondents were really attentive when they were giving responses to us or not. So depending upon the response that is emerging, we interpret the response that is emerging from the side of the respondent. So you see, we are supposed to record these verbatim. That is what is expected from us. And we also, some of the researchers, and in fact, we are supposed to time the responses also. By timing, we mean that how much time did the respondent take to basically respond to the keyword that when we read out. So in fact, the assumption here is that if somebody is taking too much of time, there are two possibilities. Either the person doesn't have the response to that word, or the person is too involved with that particular word, or too emotionally involved with that word, and because of that, the person may not be immediately able to share the response with us. Then we expect that whatever are the true or the genuine feelings, they will be revealed by the respondent when we are going in for this kind of interaction. So in fact, we tend to respond, or we tend to analyze the responses that are emerging in terms of the frequency of words as responses, how much time each person is taking, or how much time the person took as far as the response to a particular word was concerned. And in case there is no response, that is also supposed to be noted down or recorded by us. Then as it is used by researchers, in fact, to ensure that the proper message is conveyed by names or adjectives which are used. And another technique that we use in this is the sentence completion. So first one was the association technique, and in this association was in the context of words. And then next technique that we use within this category of projective techniques is the completion technique. And in completion techniques, what we are doing is that respondents may be asked to complete the incomplete stimulus situation. So there are two possibilities that it can be this sentence completion may be of two types that we will discuss. Very interesting things we can do as researchers here. So it is somewhat similar to what we discussed previously, that is the word association. But here what we are doing is that they are asked to complete an incomplete sentence, as simple as that. an incomplete sentence is given. I'll discuss some examples also, in a few slides from now. So some sentence is given to the respondent. That sentence is incomplete, and you expect your respondent or subject of interest to give you some kind of response, and that response should be that the person should be helping you out in completing the sentence. So when the person is completing the sentence, from that completion you make out or you interpret. So the responses are provided in this, in this case, what we are doing is that the respondent or the subject of interest is provided in a way a more direct stimulus. In case of words, at times there may be difficulties in understanding, as from the point of view of respondent, as also as far as interpretation is concerned. So some of the researchers feel that we should be going in for these completion techniques, and you provide a more direct stimulus to the respondent. And of course, I think we all will agree that the information that would be emerging from the subjects will be more rich in this case. So in completion technique, this is not in fact not as disguised, though of course it is falling under that. Why? Because the moment we are asking somebody to complete a sentence, so the initial part of the sentence is such that intelligent respondents or subjects, they're able to make out what exactly it is all about. So there are two possibilities in this. In fact, we can go for paragraph completion, and we can also go for story completion in this case. So some variations are there which have been experimented by researchers. So paragraph completion and story completion. So for example, you can give to somebody that a person who shops at Big Bazaar is dash. So you expect the person to give some kind of response. In this, what is happening is that whatever is the response is emerging from the side of that subject. Suppose the person says a person who shops at Big Bazaar is an intelligent consumer, is an intelligent buyer, or otherwise you get a response. So from that you make out, or maybe some other response may emerge. So you can make out that what exactly is the perception of people regarding this particular outlet. So this can be used in this manner. Suppose another example can be that suppose Walmart is most liked by. Now in this case, that can help you in understanding that what kind of thinking people have regarding Walmart based upon this this response. Then another possibility is there. People who drink Pepsi are. People who drink Pepsi are. Now this is again a sentence completion format, or this technique is being used in this format. So you can tell the respondent to write, for example, a few words, or you can ask the respondent that you can complete this or write an entire paragraph on it. So it depends upon the objectives of the research, and then it also depends upon who the researcher is. So people who vote for party X are. So these are the various formats in which it can be used. So who shops at Big Bazaar, Walmart is most liked by, people who drink Pepsi are, people who vote for party X are, and so on. So these are the different ways in which it can be used in reality. Then excuse me, there is a call from yes, hello. हो गया. They have joined. Yes, they have joined. We have around 137 participants right now. They have joined, and I've started. So I was able to access. Now I'm engaging the session. So, construction technique here, it requires, remember, the respondent to construct a response in the form of story, dialogue, or description. So two main formats can be used here. As we were discussing, it can be paragraph, it can be story completion. So in the case of completion technique, whereas in the case of construction techniques, the possibilities are we can go for picture response, we can go for cartoon test. Now let us see what these picture response and cartoon tests are. Yes. So these, hello, I'll show you that just a moment. So this, in the picture response, generally what we do is that a picture is shown to the respondents, and this can be traced to the thematic perception test, which is, a very common test in psychology. So respondents, in fact, are asked to tell stories about the pictures and that are shown to them. So they interpret pictures, and they give indications of in fact, regarding the personality of that particular individual. And we can categorize individuals into impulsive, creative, and so on. Even the armed forces of certain countries are using these tests, or it can be used on in case of psychology, so as to find out something about the personality of the individual. So then you see, as far as cartoon tests are concerned, what we can do is that certain cartoon characters are presented to the respondents, and these characters are shown in a particular situation. And then what we do is that we ask the respondents to indicate to us that what exactly is one cartoon character saying to the other character who is shown in that particular picture. So whatever responses are emerging, they basically tell us something about the feelings, something about the beliefs, something about the opinions, or something about the attitude that these characters who are shown in that particular image have towards that particular situation. Now look at this example. We have a cartoon test here, and in this you see we have X5 Bazaar. So obviously, for the sake of understanding, I'm not giving some specific name to this bazaar. Imagine that it's any bazaar, and let's see if we can pick up some kitchen gadgets at XY Bazaar. So this is what one person is shown saying in this particular cartoon test. And see, we have another cartoon character, which is incidentally in this case a female, and we expect some kind of response from the subject in this particular situation. So based upon the response, we can make out that what kind of attitude, what kind of opinion does this particular individual who is shown has regarding this particular outlet or this particular bazaar. Then we have expressive techniques. And here what we do is that see respondents in fact are shown or described basically describe a particular situation, and they in fact are asked to express their opinion about other person's motivation and feelings. So in fact what we're doing is that in a way we are not forcing the person to himself or herself reveal to us what he or she has in himself or herself regarding that particular situation, but what we expect is that they will be projecting their feelings, or rather they'll be illustrating what others would feel in that particular situation. So we do not, the respondents in fact think that they're not expressing their own feelings or motivations, but rather they are illustrating or they're expressing to us what others would feel. So the assumption here is that whatever the respondents are sharing with us would in fact be telling us something about what they actually feel in that particular situation. So I think you will appreciate that in a way we are preventing or in a way we are allowing the respondent to share the inner feelings by projecting or by in fact conveying to us that as if they are being expressed by others. So then this commonly used expressive techniques that are being used by researchers, they include role playing and third person technique. By role playing, what we mean, just like roles that are played by various celebrities in different situations. For example, movie stars, they play roles. So in role playing, what is happening is that the respondents are asked to play a role, or they assume that they are playing the role of, for example, say a housewife, or for example the main breadwinner of the family, or for example somebody else, and then you pose certain queries. So researcher assumes that the respondent will project her or his feelings in that particular situation when the person is playing that particular role. So in a way, I think you will again agree that it is a technique which is helping us probe in depth a particular respondent. And generally we resort to these when we realize that direct questioning is not working, that the people are not in fact sharing with us directly when we are posing questions to them. Now, in third person technique, as the name itself indicates, see, the respondents will be presented with some situations. So they can be verbal or visual situations, and then they will be asked to relate beliefs and attitudes of some other person, some third person, rather than expressing their own beliefs or their personal beliefs regarding that particular visual or verbal situation. So this technique generally is being used when we want to get feedback again regarding things regarding which